Okay, now for the fun part. The really fun part. Putting the bed back on the truck. And before I do, I'm going to make a plate for that, in which I can mount the bed a little bit more stable, so it doesn't want to dip one side or one end dip more than the other or whatever. And before I put it on, I thought I'd explain a little bit about the bed removal process. There's 6 structural bolts to hold the bed on, and 4 of them are at the very back of the truck. There's 1, 2, and then there's 2 more on the other side, just like that. And in order to get those 4 bolts there out, you about need to remove your spare tire. So you just crank down your spare tire, take that out of there, and you can take those 4 bolts out. Up at this end, up on some blocks, there's actually 2 more bolts, 1 on each side. And then also, right here you see a little tab here with a hole in it. That's a ground tab that grounds your cab to your bed. There's a little ground strap hanging here. That's what grounds those 2 together, okay? And on the back, you're going to have your electrical wiring for your tail lights and your license plate lights, and they are actually clipped to the bed itself. And so you'll have to unsnap those with these little snaps from the bed. And then once you get all that done, oh yeah, don't forget your gas tube is going to be bolted to your filler door, and you'll have to remove that. Once you do that, then you're ready to lift her off of there. So I'm going to go through some of my footage. I filmed a bunch of stuff while I was taking it off, but it was kind of one of those typical crazy days. So I'm not sure what I've got for footage, but I'll see what I've got, and maybe we'll film a bed removal as well as a bed replacement. But like I said, before I actually get this started, I've got to make a little plate for my hoist. So I'll make that, and we'll get back to putting this bed on. Okay, I'll show you the block I made. The bed's up a little bit, about ready to come off, or come off the 48, I should say. And that's the block right there. Basically, all it is a piece of tube stock with 5 eye bolts put in it. That allows me to raise this. I can raise it a lot higher than what I had been before, and now I actually can I think I'm going to raise this corner though. I can adjust it on these straps. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to raise that corner, because it looks like this side here wants to dip a little bit low, but then maybe that might help since the gas fill is on that side. So I'll try it first, and if I get adjusted, I'll adjust it. Well, one thing I didn't mention prior, and that's after you drop your spare tire, there's a little keeper clip that holds the shaft, a rod or crank or whatever you want to call it, that goes to the spare tire mechanism. I'd pull that clip out and get that shaft out of there. It makes it a little easier to take the bed off. And anyways, I've got her this far, and now I'm going to put this gas housing back in here, or whatever you want to call it. 3 T25s that hold that in there, and then I'll be able to continue working it down and getting the gas spout on there. I got the gas spout all tightened into position, and I'll work the bed down. I don't think I have to remove the hose clamps or anything for that, so we'll see how she goes. Okay, it's sitting basically in place, but just barely sitting there, so I can still slide it. It's actually, I can't hardly show you with one hand, but it's just barely slidable. So now I'll go underneath and get my bolts started, and once the bolts are started, then I can actually take the weight clear off of the hoist and bolt her in place. Okay, the bed's on, bolted down, lights are all hooked up. I'll have to do a light check yet real quick and make sure we got light since they were disconnected. Ground's back on. I put anti-seize on the bolts before I tightened them down. I used witness marks on the bottom of the bed and frame in order to make sure it's lined up exactly like it was. And right now what I'm getting ready to do, since I had a problem with the fuel system and I had been making adjustments to the throttle position sensor and other things, now I'm going to do an adjustment on the throttle position sensor. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put a meter, a voltmeter on this center wire on this here, and then I'm going to go to idle and to wide open throttle positions. And at wide open throttle I want more than or less than 4.8 volts, and at idle I need more than 200 millivolts. So 200 millivolts or more, and 4.8 volts or less is the range. On this in here, I had actually removed the plug on here in order to get enough idle to be able to use this, so I'll have to adjust that, and that's a torque screw in there. And we'll get her adjusted, and I'll be ready for cleaning out the bed and doing a test drive.